Tifu by speedrunning through an entire island of death traps because a fat man kidnapped forest animals. Posted by you, Blue Blur Real. Yo, name's Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog. You know, fastest thing alive, snarkiest mammal, this side of Mobius, undefeated chili dog eating champion, etc. I wasn't gonna post this, but Tails dared me to try being relatable for once. So congrats, here's my therapy session. Anyway, this all started when a certain egg-shaped maniac decided to take his midlife crisis out on the forest. Eggman a him. I mean, Dr. Robotnik rolled up to South Island like he was building the world's worst amusement park. No rides, no games, just factories, drills, buzzsaws, and roboticized animals. Yeah, you heard me. He turned bunnies, squirrels, even freaking baby birds into murder bots. So I did what any blue hedgehog with a moral compass and a god-tier mile time would do. I ran. Green Hill Zone. Day 1. I remember the win first. Fresh. Fast. Perfect. Green Hill is the kind of place poets try to write about and fail miserably. Giant checkerboard cliffs, waterfalls tall enough to punch the sky, and palm trees that somehow vibe. I was born here. I know every loop, ramp, and spike trap like they're part of my bloodstream. So when the first buzz bomber tried to ruin the scenery with a laser shot to the face, I bounced off a palm tree, spun through its chassis, and freed a chipmunk trapped inside like it was just another Tuesday. It was more fun than scary at first. I dodged spike pits, danced over crumbling bridges, and kick-flipped off loop-de-loops like the laws of physics owed me money. The whole time, Eggman's machines just kept coming. End of Act 3? That's where I saw him, hovering in that dumb egg-shaped pod like a rejected carnival balloon, wearing a smug grin and swinging a giant wrecking ball like it was some new toy. "Give up, Hedgehog," he said. Hard pass omelet head. I wrecked his little demolition derby in under a minute. Sliced the chain, knocked him into the sky, and caught a glimpse of his terrified face as he noped out with his thrusters on full blast. On his zone down. Want me to continue with Marble Zone next? Next stop, Marble Zone. And man, what a mood whiplash. Gone were the sunny cliffs and breezy loops. Now I was jogging into ancient ruins filled with lava, crushing blocks, and enough creepy silence to make me actually slow down for once. I never liked the underground stuff. Too quiet. No wind. And if there's no wind, there's no rush. Just stale air and echoes of things trying to kill you. Still, I had a job to do. I skidded into the first chamber. The air instantly 5 degrees hotter. The floor was cracked stone and old traps, and before I could even get my bearings, a fireball erupted from a pit and singed the quills off my tail. "Okay," I muttered, "so no floor is safe. Got it." I started navigating like a rat in a furnace, jumping over lava geysers, timing spikes, dodging fire pillars that wanted to roast me like a marshmallow. And the worst part? There were robot caterpillars. Giant, metal, segmented jerks with glowing eyes and bad attitudes. One of them tried to tail whip me into a spike wall, so I revved up and blasted through its face. That's when I saw the first animal cage in here wedged behind a crumbling statue. Bunny, fox, owl, all huddled together, wide-eyed. I hit the release switch, and they scurried out like smoke in the wind. Felt good. Real good. And then, of course, Eggman showed up again. This time, he had lava on his side. He hovered above a pit, dropping fire onto platforms while I danced around like a caffeinated ballerina. "Burn Hedgehog. Oh, you want to roast me? Try harder." I baited him left, then zipped right, and landed a spin attack to his hovercar's engine. It sparked, fizzled, and boom, he retreated again, back to whatever oily layer he was hiding in, 2 zones down. But I was sweating more than I'd ever admit. Spring Yard Zone. Day 3. If Green Hill was fun and Marble Zone was a death sauna, then Spring Yard was a neon fever dream. Imagine a pinball machine had a baby with a construction site and then gave it caffeine and a bad attitude. Every bounce pad, every moving platform, every wall of spikes, perfectly timed to ruin my day. But I loved it. I flew through that place like I was the ball, launched off bumpers, crashed through breakable walls, flipped onto elevators like I belonged in a commercial for Hedgehog sneakers. I had style, I had flair, and for the first time in days, I wasn't mad, I was thriving, until I found another cage of animals. This one had a baby deer. I slowed down. That's when Eggman ambushed me. Straight up dropped a spiked block the size of a minivan from the ceiling. I dodged, barely, and it crushed the ledge I'd been standing on. He grinned. I growled. "You don't get to play with lives, Eggman." I bounced off a spring, ricocheted through 2 walls, and landed a spin attack so hard it dented his hover car. He fled. Again, that was becoming a pattern. Labyrinth Zone. Day 4. This one was hell. I hate water. I don't care what anyone says, hedgehogs aren't meant to swim. And Labyrinth Zone was just one giant underwater tomb waiting to drown me. Stone corridors, spears, water currents, and worst of all, those stupid air bubbles. Every 30 seconds, I had to stop and breathe, which for me is like telling a cheetah to take a nap mid-chase. And don't get me started on the slow-mo. Underwater, I moved like molasses. My speed was gone. My jumps were floaty. Even my spin dash felt like it was underwater buffering. I had to think, plan every movement, like a platformer protagonist instead of the blazing blur I was. It sucked. Worse? Eggman knew. He lured me deeper and deeper into the zone, using narrow tunnels and rising water levels to trap me. His boss fight this time? An underwater escape sequence with spikes and falling blocks while he casually floated ahead, smirking. "I hate you so much," I muttered, dragging my soggy fur out of the final tunnel as he zipped off. Still beat him. Barely. 4 zones. Still breathing. Still blue. Want me to keep going with Starlight Zone next? We're just getting to the real stuff. Starlight Zone. Day 5. Now this was more like it. Starlight Zone was peaceful. Strange, right? After all that lava, water, and neon madness, this place felt like a break. The sky was dark, sprinkled with stars, and the platforms hung high above the clouds like a dream that forgot gravity existed. Cool breeze. Quiet hum of tech. The glow of the city below me. I slowed down just a little. Not because I was tired, not because I was scared, just sometimes. Even a hedgehog needs to take in the view. And this one? Worth it. But don't get me wrong. Eggman didn't make this easy. There were fans that tried to blow me into bottomless pits, seesaws that launched bombs instead of fun, robots that tried to slice me in half the moment I got comfortable. It was like he designed this zone just to look beautiful while still trying to murder me. But I was back in my element. The long stretches of runway let me go full throttle again. And I needed that. After the underwater nightmare of Labyrinth, I needed to feel the wind again, to remind myself who I was. I'm Sonic. I run. I don't drown. I don't break. I blur. I sped through those sky bridges like I was trying to catch the stars themselves, hit 3 loop-de-loops, spun off a fan, landed on a seesaw, and launched myself right into the face of one of Eggman's drone sentries. Boom. Lights out. By the time I reached the boss platform, I was smiling again. This time, he came with bombs. He floated overhead, dropping spiked bombs onto the seesaws below me. Trick was, if I timed the launch just right, I could use his own explosives to rocket them back up at him. And oh, I did. Surprise Eggy. The second bomb I flung nailed the underside of his hovercar so hard it spun like a dinner plate. He panicked, fled. Again, that's when I realized something. He wasn't just testing me, he was afraid of me. And that made me grin wider than ever. Scrap Brain Zone. Day 6. And then came the final gauntlet, Scrap Brain Zone. If Eggman's mind was a place, this was it. A fortress of steel, electricity, smoke, and cruelty. Conveyor belts, crushers, trapdoors, every square inch was a puzzle meant to kill me. And this time, no fun, no wind, no loops, just metal. And death. He wasn't playing anymore. The badniks here weren't your standard clunkers either. These ones were fast, aggressive, like they'd been programmed with my moves in mind. Every hallway felt like a challenge, every room a trap. I had to be smarter than ever. I juked laser turrets, rode moving blocks through flame corridors, and leapt between electrified platforms like I'd been born for it. My fur singed, my legs ached, my rings were long gone, but I was too close to stop. Then he tried to drown me again. Yeah, he dropped me into a second labyrinth zone, except this one was worse. It was darker, deeper. The water was colder. The traps were faster. Eggman knew where I'd been, and he upped the ante. But I kept moving, bubble to bubble, gear to gear, timing my jumps like my life depended on it, because it did. And finally, I reached the last elevator. I remember standing there, alone, dripping wet, staring up into the silence above me. End of the line, Eggman. Final showdown. The core. The last room was nothing fancy. No lava, no traps, just Eggman. And the master control panel behind him. He was already in his final mech, a big, ugly brute of a machine with drills for arms and a laser that could melt walls. Still standing, Hedgehog? I don't stand, I said. I run. I darted forward, and he lunged with the drill. I faked left, then zip right, bouncing off a wall into a spin attack that cracked his windshield. He fired a laser. I dodged. He crushed the floor beneath me. I wall ran back up the side like gravity was a suggestion. Each time I hit him, his machine sparked, smoked, shrieked, but he didn't stop. Neither did I. And then I saw an opening. He powered up his biggest attack, the core of his mech glowing white hot. I had seconds. I jumped. Time slowed. I curled into a perfect spin, tore through the top of his mech, and landed behind him just as it exploded. Boom! The machine shattered. He tumbled out, groaning, sparks trailing behind him as he scrambled toward the panel. "No, you don't," I snapped. I hit the emergency shutdown switch. The entire fortress groaned. Lights dimmed. Robots powered down. It was over. He glared at me. "You think you've won, Hedgehog? This changes nothing." I stepped forward, blue quills soaked in smoking. "Nah, it changes everything." He vanished in a puff of smoke, coward's escape route. I let him go. Didn't matter. He'd be back, but so would I. Epilogue. Green Hill was quiet again. The animals I'd saved were rebuilding. The flowers were blooming. And me, I stood on the same cliff I'd started from, wind in my fur, the ocean below. I looked out, smiled, and stretched. Because yeah, I'd saved the day. But more than that, I'd run it. What's a moment that changed how you saw yourself? That first time I heard the wind again, after beating Eggman at his own game, that's when I knew I wasn't just fast. I was a hero, Sonic the Hedgehog.
I tried to conquer an island and was undone by a blue rodent. Ask me anything. Posted by you, Dr. Ivo the Genius. They call me Eggman. They laugh when they say it. That's fine. Let them laugh. The world never did understand brilliance when it came in the shape of a round man with a 10-figure IQ. But let me tell you something, Reddit. I almost had it. South Island was mine. A closed ecosystem rich in resources, ripe with ancient power, and best of all, isolated. No governments, no military, just forests, ruins, and a population of animals dumb enough to trust strangers. Perfect. I brought my machines, my vision, my ambition. I turned the hills into factories. I converted the wildlife into badniks, efficient, loyal, unburdened by emotion. I built a mechanical empire. I even located the Chaos Emeralds, 6 of them, scattered across the island like breadcrumbs left by fate herself. I wasn't conquering, I was optimizing. Then he showed up. A hedgehog. Green Hill Zone. The first time I saw him, I thought it was a glitch. A blur on my surveillance feed. Blue, fast, gone before the camera could refocus. Then my badniks started going offline. 1, 2, 10. Whole squads deactivated with spin-shaped dents in their hulls. I reviewed the footage. There he was, smirking, posing, mocking. He called himself Sonic. No last name, no team, just attitude and speed. And the worst part, the animals loved him. He wasn't strong. He wasn't clever. He wasn't even tactically reasonable. He was just fast. But speed alone doesn't win wars. I sent the Egg Mobile out personally, dropped wrecking balls from the sky, sure it would crush him like an insect. He bounced them back at me like a kid in a playground. I fled, not because I was scared, because I was calculating, measuring, learning. Marble Zone to Spring Yard. I changed tactics. Fire, traps, lava flows, rising walls. Every ruin became a death trap. I built entire cities designed to counter speed. Split-level vertical structures, hidden spike pits, disorienting corridors. I turned Spring Yard into a kaleidoscope of confusion. Didn't matter. He danced through it all like a ballerina with caffeine jitters. My machines got slower, while he got cockier. Every defeat he handed me wasn't just physical, it was personal. He smirked while I burned. Labyrinth Zone. Labyrinth. My masterpiece. Water slows everything. Movement. Thought. Reaction time. I engineered it to drown anything living, or at the very least break their momentum. Finally, I had him. I even designed an escape sequence where he'd have to chase me upward as the water rose. I imagined the panic in his eyes as the bubbles became scarce. He made it to the surface. Not fast, not graceful, but alive. The bastard survived. Starlight to scrap brain. By then, I was unraveling. I admit it. I stopped refining and started reacting. I built scrap brain like a raving maniac fire, buzzsaws, anti-gravity vents, instant kill floors. The whole thing, a final, desperate snarl of genius and hatred. And I still couldn't catch him. He tore through my fortress. He humiliated my finest machines. I tried drowning him again, Labyrinth Mong 2, but he surfaced, spitting water and spinning faster than ever. And then he reached my core. I faced him one last time. No traps. Just mech versus mammal. I should have crushed him. He used my own bombs against me. My own drills. My own hubris. And when my egg mech exploded, I scrambled from the wreckage like a cartoon villain, retreating through smoke and circuits as the control room shut down. He stood there, lit by sparks, silhouetted in blue and fury. I never felt smaller. So yeah, I failed. Not because of a resistance. Not because of armies. Because of one overconfident, cocky, absurdly fast hedgehog. And here's the worst part. As I flew away, bruised and bitter, I realized that there were more emeralds collect on this mysterious South Island. For me to really bring my empire to where it should, and this little planet, eventually. I've already started blueprints of a metal copy of the hedgehog that will really teach him a lesson. And I can't wait for round 2. Dr. Ivo Robotnik.
That's all for today. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe for the more Reddit stories in the Sonic or even video game style. Till next time.